Justin Thomas, PGA champion. Touchdown, Alabama. North Carolina. They're not going to be denied this time.
Week 12 in the NFL.
Well, there's Matt Moore of the Miami Dolphins. He's playing quarterback today. Jay Cutler out with a concussion. 0-1 in his only start this year, going against a tough defense today.
And there's Andy Dalton meeting his former offensive coordinator in Cincinnati. That's the head coach in Cleveland, Hugh Jackson. They go against each other today.
And there we got Tyrod Taylor. First they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again. Back in the lineup after being benched last week for Nathan Peterman.
Speaking about love and hate, there's Alex Smith, 18 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Those 3 interceptions in the last 2 weeks, they have lost 4 out of 5. They are going against Tyrod Taylor and the Bills today.
All right.
Stand by to move right. Ready, 1, take 1. Stand by to bring it back. Take 4.
We'll record on 40.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. I'm James Brown. We have a big NFL Sunday coming your way right here on CBS. The Patriot way is once again proving to be the recipe for success in the league. Tom Brady and company have reeled off 6 straight wins as they try to keep pace with the Steelers atop the AFC. Well, it's been a bumpy ride for the Bills the last few weeks, and today they hand the reins back to Tyrod Taylor as they visit Alex Smith and the Chiefs, who look to avoid a 3-game losing streak. And speaking of losing streaks, that's old news for Drew Brees and the Saints. They've won 8 in a row since their 0-2 start, and today they put that streak on the line against the high-powered offense of the NFC West leading Rams. And speaking of high-powered, Philadelphia holds down the top seed in the NFC playoff picture. Minnesota is second, followed by New Orleans and L.A. All are leading their respective divisions. Now, the NFC South boasts both of the wild card teams, Carolina and Atlanta. In the AFC, Pittsburgh is the overall #1 seed in a virtual tie with New England, who is the #2 seed. Jacksonville and Kansas City lead in their respective divisions. Tennessee and Baltimore hold the wild cards. All that and more comes your way today on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. As we welcome you inside Studio 43, I'm joined at the desk by our experts. We got to be quick because Phil will jump the gun, will he not?
Yes, he will.
Of course, it's Phil Simms, Boomer Esiason, Nate Burleson, and Coach Bill Cowher. A big win for the Vikes on Thanksgiving Day.
I think we look at Thursday. What a case Case Keenum is making for himself, building quite a resume. You're talking about the offseason. He will be a free agent. But when I look at the Minnesota Vikings, it's more than that because they don't turn the football over on offense. Case Keenum does not take negative plays, great in the pocket, and a defense that is very, very, very special. They can run the ball, throw the ball. This team, next to Philadelphia, to me, are the 2 best teams right now in the NFC.
Well, I want to go back to Thanksgiving Day and go to Overreaction Friday, because it was really overreaction on TV, radio, everything else. Dak Prescott. Does he not have it anymore? Was last year an aberration of who he is? And of course the answer is what, JB?
Overreaction Friday, I like that.
Oh, come on, it was so over the top. He's not the same guy. The environment has changed dramatically for him. Put it this way. Last year, he was playing for Alabama. This year, he's playing for like a Division II school. So when the scenario and the environment's different, the quarterback's numbers are going to change. Dak Prescott is fine. He's an NFL big-time starting quarterback.
You know, and by the way, I wasn't on the radio Friday morning, so I wasn't overreacting. I will say something who I am positively maybe overreacting to, and that is the L.A. Chargers, boys. After losing their first 4, they have now won 5 out of their last 7. They were very convincing against the Cowboys, and you take a look at their schedule. They got Cleveland, Washington, and Oakland at home. They go to Kansas City, and they go to the New York Jets. So I'm telling you right now, the Chargers are for real. They have everything you want. Big wide receivers, experienced quarterback, and pass rushers, which is what you need in this NFL to win.
Yeah, speaking of being for real, and you're talking about quarterbacks making a case for himself and Dak Prescott being a legit starter in this league, how about Kirk Cousins and what he's doing with the Redskins, putting the team on his back? I'll give him a compliment sandwich. Now, he's on pace to be the 2nd quarterback in NFL history to have over 100 passer rating, but on a losing team. So here's the thing. You're going to have to protect him. He got hit 31 times this year. Got sacked, taken down 31 times last year in the full 16 season. 26. So they got to protect Kirk Cousins. They have a lot of things going on within that offense. But the Redskins right now in position, 1.5 games out of that wild card spot.
The sandwich approach, huh?
Right.
Like that, no question.
All right, split up when you said
let's kick things off on our early game matchup on the NFL today. Right now, the Dolphins come to Foxborough. Folks, they've got the tall task of trying to put an end to their slide while the beat goes on for the Patriots.
Well, this graphic tells the truth right from the top. Better with age. He is as good now, maybe better than he's ever been. And there's many reasons why. When you watch the Patriots offense, and I do very closely, 70% of the time is about the average. He drops back. Boomer, can you imagine 70% of the time to drop back and throw to the first guy that you look at because he's open? That's how good their system is. They get guys open with formations, movement, and they give you everything. 17 years they've been building on this offense. Screens, misdirection, you got it all. So you look at the Miami Dolphins, how are they going to win today? That defensive line of the Dolphins has to play great to beat this New England team.
Love it when you ask yourself a question. All right, the Bills and the Chiefs meet with both teams looking to right the ship in Buffalo, playing their quarterback carousel, Coach.
Yes, Tyrod Taylor, who was benched a week ago, is back into the starting lineup. But I tell you what, they've lost 3 straight, and a lot of questions with Sean McDermott. Did he lose the team with the benching or not? You know, no, he put him back in the lineup. But listen, the focus should be on this defense, because the defense in these last 3 games have been horrendous. Look at the numbers. These last 3 games, 0-3, 45 points they've averaged given up. Over 200 yards rushing they've averaged given up. So while a lot of the focus has been on the quarterback, really today the question is, with this defense, can they stop this Kansas City offense with Kareem Hunt?
That's right. And JB, you teed up this game talking about riding the ship. Well, how about the Kansas City Chiefs? We're looking at Alex Smith, and you guys know the numbers: 16 TDs, 0 interceptions. Starting off the season, he was on fire. But then, as you can see, 3 interceptions, 3 TDs the last 3 games. And there, right there, is Kareem Hunt. That's the guy that the offense flows through. Even the numbers, they speak for themselves. Over 1,200 yards from scrimmage. But he has struggled as of late. In the beginning of the season, as you can see, he was on fire. 6 TDs right there, averaging 100 a game. And then the last 3 games, 50 yards.
Is that called the rookie wall?
Oh, the rookie wall. It could be. And it's only fitting he's wearing red. He's going to have to burst through that wall like the Kool-Aid man.
Oh, I love it. Wow. You adroitly and calmly dealt with the Buffalo situation, Coach. All right, folks, the Battle of Ohio, and it's significant for the Bengals, Boom, who are trying to get back into the playoff.
My colleague at WFAN, Bobby Dwyer, is a huge Bengal fan. He says Bengals are playing meaningful football, Boomer. I said they are, yeah, and if they win today, they'll be 5-6, and they'll be right in the wild card hunt with Andy Dalton leading the way against Hugh Jackson. And moments ago, that's A.J. McCarron, who they tried to trade for a couple weeks ago. That did not go through very well. There's Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns, along with Hugh Jackson and A.J. McCarron.
What are they talking about?
I don't know what they're talking about. Maybe I'll come and be your coach next year here in Cincinnati. I'm not really sure, because I don't really know what's going on with Marvin Lewis as well. But I will say this: Cincinnati is clearly the better team. They have clearly the better quarterback, and this is a game that they should win, and I expect them to win and stay in that playoff hunt and continue to play meaningful football for all those Bengal fans out there.
All right, I know you guys are big college football fans, and yesterday on CBS, in the 82nd Iron Bowl, early in the 4th quarter, Auburn quarterback Jarrett Stidham rolls out to his left, races 16 yards to pay dirt. That put the Tigers up by 12. That score put the game out of reach as Auburn upsets top-ranked and unbeaten Alabama 26-14. That sends the crowd at Auburn into sheer euphoria. So, with the Tigers winning, that sets up a rematch between Georgia and Auburn in the SEC championship game. That comes your way Saturday, 4 Eastern. Pre-game coverage begins at 3 right here on CBS.
That is going to be an awesome game. Hey, look who it is, the father of the no-huddle offense. That's my former head coach, Sam Weish, wearing the number 50 in honor of the 50th season for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's a heart transplant recipient, and he looks great.
Wow. He does. Good for him.
He does.
Coming up on the NFL Today, after a rough debut for Bills rookie Nathan Peterman.
And his first NFL start is epic disaster.
Tyrod Taylor is back in the saddle and hoping to lead Buffalo on a smoother ride today in Kansas City. In recent weeks, it seemed as if no one wanted to win the AFC West. But after the Chargers' impressive victory on Thanksgiving, the Bulls look ready to stake their claim. Running backs will be all the rage in today's showdown between the Saints and Rams.
Who that say they gonna beat them Saints?
Can Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara outshine Todd Gurley in the California sun? Brandon Cooks has been a perfect addition to the Patriots' offense. But do the guys think he's this year's best offseason acquisition? All that and more when the NFL Today returns. The NFL Today on CBS Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Time now to go inside the pregame HQ delivered by Domino's. Well, things have been a little shaky of late in Buffalo, as Nate worded it, in the on-again, off-again starting quarterback saga involving Tyrod Taylor and head coach Sean McDermott. Folks, that is fully documented in this week's edition of the NFL Before Today.
As I continually evaluate our roster and our goal to become better, I've decided to start Nate Peterman as our quarterback this week.
So my question is curious, why now?
It's, I think, a little early to kind of push a panic button, which is, I think, the message you're sending to your football team.
No. Pops up in the air, intercepted. Touchdown. Another pick for Nathan Peterman.
3 interceptions. You got to wonder how long Sean McDermott's going to let this party continue.
He's hammers. He throws his pick off again.
Peterman now as many completions to Chargers as Bills.
How could it get worse?
It can't get worse.
That hurts.
And his first NFL start is epic disaster.
Just please take him off the field.
I don't regret my decision. I regret the result.
No, I will have no regrets.
Tyrod Taylor will be our starting quarterback this Sunday.
I've forgotten the past.
At the end of the day, it's my decision.
So no regrets were certainly the key words used by Coach McDermott when discussing his decision to start Nathan Peterman at quarterback last week against the Chargers. Today, Tyrod Taylor back to calling the signals for Buffalo. For the latest on this situation, we go out live to Kansas City and welcome in our colleague Trent Green, who'll be calling the Bills-Chiefs matchup. Trent, looking forward to what you have to say.
You know, JB, I had that question last night with Tyrod Taylor. I said, what is your mindset going into this game after an unusual week for you? And he kind of looked up into space. He laughed a little bit, and he said, you know, Trent, I'm still kind of confused by this whole decision. And then he quickly snapped out of it and got back into quarterback mode. He said, listen, we've got to move forward. We have a 6-game season. We have a lot to prove as a team. I have a lot to prove as a quarterback. And it's about winning as a football team, not being angry, not trying to prove a point to anyone or anyone within this organization or within the league. And when you have that type of frame of mind and that attitude, he brought up the fact of playing in Arrowhead. You have to remember 2 years ago, the Bills came in to Arrowhead. They lost the game, but Tyrod Taylor had one of his best games, 291 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He added another 46 on the ground. So as much as he wants to put last week behind him and act like it's not going to have that much of an influence, it's more to do it than to say it. So I'm anxious to see how aggressive Tyrod Taylor comes out in this game. Does he come in attack mode, or does he sit back and be conservative as he was the first part of the season?
Well, you know, as Coach Cowher said, the real mature fashion in which he's dealt with it, unlike yours truly, I appreciate the attitude that he's got. Trent, thank you so much. Looking forward to your call of the game. All right, folks, and for more news and notes from around the league, we welcome in our NFL Today insider. That would be Jason Locken for Kansas City, signing veteran cornerback Darrelle Revis this week to try and spark its struggling defense. And Jason, you say it's financially not that big a risk for the Chiefs?
It's really no risk at all, JB. It's a vet minimum contract with no guarantees. Revis has to play at least half the snaps in the AFC Championship game to earn anything beyond the $6 million the Jets already owe him for 2017. So when the Jets host the Chiefs next week, oddly enough, New York will be paying Revis to play against them. The 2 coaching firings in the AFC West last week likely won't be the last. The Raiders parted with defensive coordinator Ken Norton, but offensive coordinator Todd Downing is also under fire. He might not last the season, I'm told. Other teams have asked recently fired Broncos coordinator Mike McCoy to join their staff, but he's likely to wait until 2018 to choose his next job. Broncos head coach Vance Joseph remains very much on the hot seat in the interim, and several NFL owners want to finalize Roger Goodell's 5-year contract extension this week. During committee meetings in New York, league sources said support for a new deal for the commissioner remains strong, while Jerry Jones's opposition forces are waning. Jones believes no deal should be finalized until all the owners convene for a full meeting December 13th, but sources tell me a deal should be completed by the compensation committee before then. JB, I'll bet you a scallop dinner this thing is announced by December 13th.
Which is on my menu, right, Jason? Hey, Jason, thank you so very much. And as we all know, Darrelle Revis is not active today. So, Phil, the AFC West, has turned into the Wild Wild West?
Yeah, the Wild Wild West. You know, it's really interesting. You heard Jason, there's the Oakland Raiders last year. They're the hottest team in football. They're going to win the Super Bowl this year, but let's fire both coordinators. That's the way to go about it in my mind. The LA Chargers, they are the hot team, maybe in the NFL, just the way they play, and they got such energy when they go out there. But the Kansas City Chiefs, disappointing. Where are they at right now? Two things they tried to stop this offseason. We're going to stop the run. Well, they're awful stopping the run. They play a lot of man-to-man coverage, and they really only got one guy that can play man-to-man coverage, Coach, and that's Marcus Peters. The rest, they're bringing them in and out there like it's a turnstile, trying to find somebody that could work.
I think when you look at this, the AFC West, too, it's a two-team race right now. You're talking about the LA Chargers, who I think, Boom, you mentioned, maybe the hottest team in the NFL, and you talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, but let's look at their schedule. When you look at their schedule, let's see where they are. Right now, the Chiefs have a 2-game lead, but you look at their schedule, 4 of the last 6 are at home. Yes, they play the Chargers in Week 15, but even if they lose that game, the Chargers need to be able to run it out, and somewhere along the line, the Chiefs are going to have a hiccup because you think they're going to be favored over all those teams. So I think the Chiefs still have the favorite to win this division.
Yeah, looking at the Chargers and what they did in the beginning of the season, I like to call them fake bad because they had these losses, but you looked at them and said, this is a quality team. Offensively, I dare you to show me a weakness. You got the quarterback who has a Hall of Fame career. You got the running back, Eckler, and also Melvin Gordon. And then the wide receiver core. We're not talking about this, but when you think of Keenan Allen, you think of Travis Benjamin, and also the young fella Tyrell Williams, this could be the most well-rounded wide receiver group, not just in this division, but in the NFL.
Sure, they also had major kicking problems early in the season, and they had kicking problems against Dallas as well. They'll have to figure that whole thing out. For me, you know what? The Raiders are the biggest disappointment in football. They are a disgrace right now. Their offense stinks. Their defense stinks. They get no turnovers. They're firing coaches in the middle of the season. It's ridiculous. Jack Del Rio, what about you? What are you doing out there? When you sit there and you watch Marshawn Lynch sitting on a cooler during a game in which your team is getting run out of the building and having a clinic given to it, he and Seth Roberts are laughing during the middle of the game. They have all sorts of problems out there, and Derek Carr just has not played as well as he did last year. Under pressure, he is just throwing the ball up for grabs, and he is not the same player he was last year.
All right, so Boomer told me to chill. Coach and Nate did, in fact,
chill. It's a Sunday football day,
let's dig a little deeper into the QB situation there in Buffalo. The question is, are the Bills making the right moves while trying to stay in the playoff hunt?
They have to make this move because Tyrod Taylor gives them the most stability at the quarterback position. They got a chance to win with Tyrod Taylor in the lineup. And again, I talked about at the beginning of the show, the focus is more on this defense. They have let them down. When you look at Tyrod Taylor, he has no Kelvin Benjamin today. He doesn't have a group of receivers around him. It's about Shady McCoy, him making plays in and out of the pocket, and the defense has to show up for them to have a chance to win today. They are still in a playoff race.
You want to know something? Here's the thing. He should have a good day today because the Kansas City defense is not very good. There should be a high-scoring game on both sides. We all believe that, right? The thing about Tyrod Taylor, Sean McDermott is running everything up there in Buffalo. I doubt very much that Tyrod Taylor and Alex Smith are going to be the quarterbacks of their respective teams that they are today. So go play for yourself and show everybody else that you can be a starter in this.
And that's just it. For clarification, people at home, there's a misconception that the competition is just with the quarterback and the guy behind him. This is Tyrod Taylor versus the front office.
Yes.
This isn't Tyrod Taylor versus everybody else. So like you said, he has to go out there and play for himself because the future doesn't hold well for him with Buffalo, but he might be somewhere else being a starter.
Well, let me just say this. Sean McDermott made the switch last week. Why, JB? Because he thought it was going to be the best move for his team. No other reason. I believe that for real. And we're all geniuses after the fact, right? Now that we know it didn't work, well, like Sean McDermott said, I thought it might work out. It didn't. And what did Nathan Peterman do? He went out there and he didn't even play like himself. He wanted to be hang in the pocket because they were complaining about Tyrod Taylor, not anticipating throws. He tried that too. So he took 3 massive hits that did what? Caused 3 big interceptions. So there you go.
Wish we had more time to debate.
I know
that.
You'd like to yell at me.
I'll just move on and say, Coach, I know, Coach, I'm trying. University of Phoenix Stadium has hosted many special events through the years, but a recent celebration on the field captured the real Thanksgiving spirit. USAA and the Arizona Cardinals took time to honor servicemen and women from Luke Air Force Base as a gesture of gratitude for their service with a Thanksgiving meal hosted by Larry Fitzgerald and Dayon Buchanan. On behalf of USAA and the Cardinals, we wish all service members, past and present, a very happy Thanksgiving weekend, and thank you for your service.
And there is Tom Brady, the GOAT. He was on the injury report with an Achilles injury. Guess what? He's not going to run all over you. News alert, he's going to throw all over you. Tom Brady looking to have a great day.
Week 13 in the league kicks off with Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. It'll feature an NFC East showdown between Washington and Dallas. And, folks, there is Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski warming up. You know, he's tied for the team lead with 5 touchdowns. And Tom Brady's favorite red zone target will look to add to that total today against the Miami Dolphins. Time now for Who Are You 11, presented by McDonald's new McCafe Espresso.
Well, the big story coming in, the return of Adrian Peterson had no effect whatsoever.
Being the competitor that I am, I want to be in there every kick.
He's not going to be the bell cow like he was here in Minnesota.
Another touchdown pass for Tom Brady. He's got 3 in the first quarter.
Sean Payton still hasn't found it with this football team. Deep down the middle, touchdown Saints! The Saints head to London off their first victory of the season. Cutler can't find anybody. Sacked by Cam Jordan. Though the Saints opened up a 10-0 lead, and the Dolphins never really threatened. It's a 3-game winning streak. Kamara trying to turn the corner, and he's going to score! As the Saints will run their division-leading record to 5-2. Oh, and it's blocked! The Saints have blocked it and taken it in for the touchdown. This one is over as the Saints run their winning streak to 7. Epic comeback by the Saints results in their 8th straight victory. Domination by the New Orleans Saints.
You know, usually when we talk about the Saints offense, the discussion begins and usually ends with superstar quarterback Drew Brees. But we're starting with something that is near and dear to Coach, and that is the ground attack.
Yeah, JB, Drew Brees is still having a very good year, but you're talking about an offense that has a running game that is unique and special. I call it flash and smash here.
Oh,
Phil.
I like it.
Talking about flash
being
Alvin Kamara, smash being Mark Ingram. You can see these with this tandem right here. Over 900 scrimmage yards, first and second among running backs with 400-plus yards. They're special, and they're uniquely different, too, Phil.
They are different. That's what makes it so great. You know, you look at Alvin Kamara. They hit a home run in the 3rd round. The Saints love to throw screen passes. Yeah. Kamara is excellent coming out of the backfield, catching screens, and outside, even as a wide receiver, has hands, catch back shoulder throws. But also, he's a running back. He's not a little guy. He can go between the tackles and outside.
He's flashy, though.
He's flat. There you go. That's flash for you. Makes a lot of good runs. He's the modern-day version of Darren Sproles and Reggie Bush.
Yeah, the other side of that is called smash. You know, Ryan Ramczyk, who was a first-round pick with them, Phil, you see him out here. He's athletic. He's out in space. Mark Ingram, he's not just an inside runner. He's an outside runner. You can see Ramczyk making the open field block. And then inside, what I love about Mark Ingram, he gives them a personality. He gives them a toughness. He gives them an attitude. Because you know what he does, Phil? He finishes. Watch this right here. He's hit right there, and he falls forward. You've got to love that. Couple that with Drew Brees. That's an offense made for perfection.
I feel like you're telling me I don't finish. You know, I'm trying to do the best I can. Hey, they got an outstanding offensive line too, Bill. Pass, protect, and run block.
You know, the Rams and Saints had played a pretty historic game 28 years ago, JB. It was all about a Dolphin named Flipper.
Hey, and check this out. As we flash back 28 years ago on this date, back in 1989, Rams receiver Flipper Anderson, that's the name, set the NFL single-game record for receiving yards. Nate, 336 against the Saints. The question is, will the Rams make some more history to date?
Well, I'm looking at what they did last week, and even though Todd Gurley got in the end zone, he finished with 15 carries, 37 yards. So that could be the blueprint to slowing down the greatest show on surf, as my guy Kyle Brandt would say. Suffocate that running game, and then you'll take the air out of that passing game.
You know, here's the thing. The Rams are the story of the year thus far. They're 7-3. They just come off a loss to the Vikings. They have a very tough schedule. But how about Jared Goff? You take a look at some of these numbers, Nate. 3rd down red zone November. He has been spot on, and he needs a game today. Why? Because the New Orleans, I'm kind of like Phil Sims asking myself the question. Why? Because New Orleans Saints are missing their top 2 defensive backs.
Right.
So Lattimore and Crawley are not there, but the Rams offense should be able to take advantage of that.
Right. You got to be able to open up that passing game, look for Todd Gurley, that play action to get those safeties to pull up, go right over the top.
Show me how how Bill Cowher actually talks.
Gets low with it. He gets excited and he starts doing a little bounce.
That's right.
He gets real low, like he's doing squats.
Exactly.
You can't get that low, Boomer.
And Phil has had that kind of effect on you, Boomer?
Yes, he has.
Asking yourself a question. Hey, folks, we'll keep the conversation going. But with kickoff just about a half hour away, time to set the scene at your game as we take you out first on the field with the latest news and updates on your matchup.
His ass was hitting the ground.
Hey, later this afternoon, most will see Drew Brees and the Saints battle Todd Gurley and the Rams in our featured matchup. Others will catch the Broncos at the Raiders. That in an AFC West matchup, or the AFC South leading Jags against the Cardinals. That comes your way 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific right here on CBS.
All right, Paxton Lynch is going to start for the Broncos. He's got a new offense coordinator, Bill Musgrave. I expect him 6-7 man protections. Why? Because there's a new defensive coordinator on the other side for the Raiders. That's John Pagano. When you take over a team and you're a defensive coordinator, you're going to blitz. You're going to want to try to get turnovers, something that the Raiders don't do on defense.
Yeah, they don't do that. They're definitely struggling that defense right there. 26th ranked in the league, but that offense for the Raiders, they got to get going. Todd Downing a little bit on the hot seat right now. Marshawn Lynch leading the team in rushing with only 43 yards per game. What do you do with those wide receivers up against that strong defense? You got to use a pre-snap alignment move so you can get them open at the line of scrimmage and hopefully open up that passing game to start the running game.
In a division-leading Jaguars who have won 4 straight, they go and visit Arizona, and it's really about Jalen Ramsey. There's a chance he will play today. He had a hand injury during the middle of the week, but for this Jacksonville team, their defense is special, but the big question is on the offensive side, Blaine Gabbert, and they're going against, Blake Bortles, going against Blaine Gabbert.
There you go. You got it on your mind. Blaine Gabbert starting for the Cardinals last week. I thought he played pretty well. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I'm going to do a little coaching here, Bill Cowher. If I am the Arizona Cardinals, I am going to put everybody up there and say, you can't run the ball. Make Blake Bortles throw the football down the field and tight coverage. See if he can do it.
I think that's a good plan to do that. And I'll tell you another good plan will be finding a way for the Miami Dolphins to stop this guy. That's the GOAT. That's the Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback in ever play the NFL. 20 wins already against Miami. Can he get 21 today?
Yes.
The NFL Today is sponsored by Pepsi, welcoming you to the Fun Dozen End Zone. The Home Depot, more saving, more doing. And by Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Well, the Steelers are giving back in their community, and in the spirit of Thanksgiving, Cameron Hayward and Marquise Pouncey led the team's annual turkey giveaway this week, donating turkeys to more than 480 families in the Pittsburgh area. You know, the Steelers are doing good things off the field, and they're one of many teams going in the right direction on the field.
Yeah. 4 wins in a row for Jacksonville's first-place Jaguars.
Antonio Brown, spectacular grab.
The Steelers have the best record in the AFC.
They got the greatest quarterback that's ever lived.
You see, winning is all we know. Winning is all we do. We win.
Minnesota now 9-2 with a 3-game lead. The Philadelphia Eagles, 8 wins in a row. An iron grip on the NFC East.
On by Kamara, and he goes into the end zone.
An epic comeback by the Saints results in their 8th straight victory.
I'm a winner.
So looking for a coach's perspective when we ask a question like, Phil, are the streaks indicative of where these squads need to be going into the playoffs?
You know what, guys, I would just say this. I think the winning edge is hard to sustain. So sometimes you have to fight complacency. You have to fight getting too comfortable. So a loss right now this time of year is not necessarily a bad thing. But when you look at all the teams that were on those streaks, the one team that impresses me the most, the Philadelphia Eagles. You have a quarterback that's thrown 25 touchdown passes, a running attack that's got a plethora of running backs behind it, and a defense #1 against the rush, and multiple rushers up front. So I really like the Philadelphia Eagles for where they are, the balance they have.
Yeah, me too. You know, JB, I'll just ask myself the question, just said, yeah, what do you think, Phil? Well, here's the teams. Look, I would never bet against the Patriots. You know, we all think they're never going to lose. That's just the way we think. But you're right about the Eagles, and we know about their up front guys on both sides of the ball. They're big and physical, but they finally got the defensive secondary in order. Darby's back. Jalen Mills, Patrick Robinson. They got two good safeties in McLeod and Jenkins. So you put it all together. Man, this Eagles team, they are for real. We know that.
Yeah, talk about hot streaks, the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you say all the time? You got to run the ball and play defense. That defense is absolutely strong. So when thinking about a team that can actually take this and go further, they're playing up against Arizona, Indy, Seattle, which is a question mark, Houston, San Francisco, and then Tennessee. These are all games that they can win. And this right here is exactly what we love out of this team. They can get after the quarterback. And if that quarterback lets that ball go on every level, linebackers, safeties, and cornerbacks, they're going to dominate just like we're seeing right here, Ben.
You know what? I can tell you. I've been up here for 15 years, and I feel like every year at this time I said the same thing. It's the New England Patriots. And then everybody else. I don't know what you guys have been watching. I mean, they know football better than anybody. And the way that they have schooled, and Bill Belichick has schooled Denver and Oakland in the past 2 weeks alone, just in game planning, the way that Tom Brady's been playing. They don't even talk about him as an MVP. Why? Because we already know he's an MVP. This team is absolutely stocked and ready and loaded on offense. They can beat anybody. I don't care about their schedule. I don't care about where they play. It doesn't matter. We all know this is coming down to New England and Pittsburgh in the AFC. I've been saying it for 15 years.
What you're really telling us, you have nothing new to say.
Pretty much. I mean, you know, when you're talking about greatness, you just keep accentuating the greatness.
So we're going to ask Nate to play clairvoyant. Who will win out?
I'm going to say Jacksonville. And I just mentioned that the toughest team on that roster is the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seattle Seahawks are struggling. They have struggles protecting Russell Wilson. Defensively, they're all beat up. So if Blake Bortles can go out there, control the ball, don't laugh, boom, and then hand that ball off to those running backs. You know, I love Fournette and TJ Yeldon. Those guys are strong. They got the wide receivers, and defensively, they can dominate any offense out there.
And if there's one big question, is at that quarterback position. But if you ask me, I would just say this. The winner of the New England-Pittsburgh game in Week 15 is going to win, that, and that's going to be played for home field and advantage. We have that game on CBS. That'll be the game of the year.
Yeah, I'm going to make it simple. I'm like Boomer. I'm taking the Patriots to win out. It doesn't matter what the stakes are, what's going on emotionally, they'll get it done.
I would just say this about Pittsburgh. They are a crazy team. They're all over the place. I mean, they're drama here, drama there. Ben Roethlisberger making up drama. But how about Matt Moore? He's got a lot of drama on his hands today.
Yeah, he does. Matt Moore going against the defense has played much better the last few weeks. 0-1 as a starter so far this year, Matt Moore is.
A reminder, this Tuesday on CBS is the Victoria's Secret Fashion Show from Shanghai. And folks, you won't want to miss it. With special musical guests Harry Styles and Miguel. That's Tuesday night at 10, 9 Central only on CBS.
Well, here we go. Tyreek Hill. Can the Kansas City Chiefs find more ways of getting the football? Only 47 receptions so far this year. I think they can.
The bright spot for the Cleveland Browns has been their defense, ranked 8th. And there's Myles Garrett. He was the first pick in the draft. 4 sacks through 5 games.
And there's Jarvis Landry, 3rd in the NFL with 67 catches. Last 2 games versus the Pats, 211 yards and a touchdown.
All right, and there's Patriots wide receiver Brandon Cooks. The speedy wideout leads the league in receptions of 40-plus yards with 6. So let's find out a little bit more about him with his extra points.
Being able to watch Tom Brady from afar, you know, was spectacular. Now being able to play with him is something special.
Snap to Brady, looking deep down the far left side, open target, touchdown! Brandon Cooks!
I don't feel any pressure at all playing for a team that's expected to win the Super Bowl every year.
Open is Cooks! No one near him! Touchdown, New England!
The Archer it comes from a Bible scripture that I love. It's Psalm 144:6. Send forth lightning, scatter the enemy, shoot your arrows and rout. It's a thing that just makes me get honed in when it's game time and puts me in that zone, and one of my favorite scriptures. My dog, Scout and Archer, golden retriever and a mini golden doodle.
Scout, sit. Scout, sit.
I don't know if we can put that one on the TV. That's gonna make me look soft.
So the Patriots acquiring Cooks is just one of the many impactful moves around the league this offseason. I'm going to do a Phil Simms. Who's had the biggest impact by asking?
Well, we just sit there and watch the Minnesota Vikings go 8-2, and to me, the 2 pickups they made this offseason, number 1, their quarterback, Case Keenum, who's been a big part of it, and Latavius Murray. You know, when Dalvin Cook went down, you said, who's going to carry the ball and carry the rock? It was Latavius Murray, who came also from the Oakland Raiders. Case Keenum came from the Rams. These 2 guys have been an integral part of a team that is 8-2 and leading their division.
Hey, Coach, don't forget about Reef and Remmers. I know Remmers has got a concussion right now, but getting 2 big offensive tackles helped them as well. Sean McVay, to me, the head coach of the Rams, what a difference he's made for their #1 draft pick from last year. That's Jared Goff. You can see the numbers. They're amazing. But as far as players, how about Calais Campbell and A.J. Boye? They are tremendous players and a big reason why the Jacksonville defense just smothers opposing teams' quarterbacks like they will today with Blaine Gabbert. I think that those two guys really made a difference in Jacksonville.
Yeah, let me shout out the front office for the Philadelphia Eagles. There's no surprise that they're the best team in the league. Howie Roseman, check this out. You got Blunt, you trade for Ajayi, you got Jeffrey Torrey Smith, you trade for Ronald Darby, and also Timmy Jernigan. And the playmakers that they put on this team and everybody making an immediate impact, there's a reason why they're successful. So I have to shout out not just Peterson, but the guys in the front office making those moves this offseason.
So it's not always just about the players, it's about the coaches and executives. Right,
yes,
JB?
It's a team, isn't it?
It is. So my guy this year, nobody even brings him up ever. How's Doug Marrone doing? You know, that Jacksonville team, we all knew they were going to be great. They're 7-3. And look what the culture he's created. In training camp, he had his guys out there in pads, coach, every day. And they practiced hard. They hit each other. I'm surprised there wasn't a CBA disagreement there or something. But they changed the culture. And Boomer, Tom Coughlin. Look who he brought in down there. Calais Campbell, A.J. Boye, Barry Church, all guys that were winners. And, of course, they just picked up Marcel Darius.
You know what I'm talking about? Tom Coughlin still has a lot of utility left to him. I'm surprised people wrote him off. But you quarterbacks, what about Mr. Andrew Whitworth? I mean, he's doing great. Quarterback wouldn't want a good guy like him doing the job.
I just talked about the tackles of the Minnesota Vikings. I would talk about Andrew Whitworth, of course. We just don't have enough time.
Oh, no, you got the time now.
I can keep going.
Absolutely.
You know why? Because this is a Drew Kaliski special right here. You know what? At the end of the day, every team takes stock of what they're missing. And when you take a look at what's going on with the Giants here, with Eli Manning, maybe with what's going on with Kirk Cousins getting hit, like you said earlier in the show, offensive linemen are worth their weight in gold. I love all you guys out there because you took care of us quarterbacks. They're the reason. That's why they are the reason why teams win. And certainly the healthy offensive lines around the league are the reasons why these offenses are as good as they are.
Sometimes they protected us. Go ahead, JB.
You know what? See how he just, I mean, he elaborated, didn't even know he had the time and look at it. Waxing eloquent indeed. All right, folks. Hey, time now for the NFL Today picks delivered by FedEx. Upset specials. 3 of our guys picked the Saints over the Rams, but for our picks leader, Coach is going against the grain, though he did have the Saints too. Go ahead.
To Bruce Arians, I know he kind of called out his receiving core. They've had a lot of drops. He's made a couple changes in the lineup, and he's starting Blaine Gabbert going against his old team who drafted him. I think if they can get a lead, if they can somehow find a way to get a lead, I put all the pressure on Blake Bortles, and I think you're going to see them trying to take away that run today. I like Arizona in a little bit of an upset there.
It's a good one.
That's a good one. I like it. It's pretty good. I mean,
but I like the Saints. You know why I like the Saints? They got a guy named, that's right, Drew Brees. He's pretty good. And, you know, if you watched him last week, we talk about Tom Brady being 40. Drew Brees is what, 39?
Yeah, he's right there.
He ran around like I've never seen him run around before,
right.
And he made great off-balance throws. He'll need some of those today.
Saints don't have their 2 starting corners are out in this game.
5 games, 70% completion or better, Drew Brees.
And a quick reminder, you can see Nate on Good Morning Football weekday mornings on NFL Network. And his guys and Kay doing a superb job. All right, folks, go to NFL.com/FedEx. Cast your vote for the FedEx Airing Ground NFL Players of the Week. And with that in mind, kickoff just a few minutes away. We'll get you out to your game next.
NFL Today on CBS Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
A reminder that later most will see Drew Brees, the aforementioned, and the Saints battle Todd Gurley and the Rams in our featured matchup. Others will catch the Broncos at the Raiders, that in the AFC West matchup, or the AFC South leading Jags, Nate, against the Cardinals, who Coach said gets it done. That comes your way 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, right here on CBS. Well, it is time now for the NFL Today for the latest roundup. He complained about not being enough in the open because Nate and Boomer were featured. So this is, how do you really feel?
It's like my mom used to say to Cup, Phil, come to dinner. Of course, I was always hungry, man, so I'd take off running. But, you know, things never go as planned. We all plan. This show thinks they're perfect. And look, here's a good example. All the planning you do, that something can always go wrong. Watch this. That's the Georgia Dome. We're going to watch it implode, and look what happens.
And this was on live, right?
This is live
on.
And there it goes. And You think you got perfection, and it doesn't work out. So that's what happens sometimes. Now, I say this because this group of guys I work with here, oh, now the bus is finally going to leave. Well, there it was, folks. Let us tell you, it was great happening. But this group I work with, they think they're like perfect all the time. And I just want to bring up, well, let's go back to last week and just see some of the mistakes that this crew made. Tell me how you feel about it. Listen.
I'm going with the Cowboys. This is going to be the game where Dak Prescott used those designed runs to get in the end zone. We're not talking about that arm. He will have the best game of his career.
This game is going to be won in the trenches, and I think the San Diego Chargers are healthier.
Melvin Gordon and the dynamic duo of Austin Eckler are going to have a big game for the San Diego Chargers.
You know, really, we didn't have time to show them all, Boomer. You said it 4 times during the show, but that's okay. Nobody would count.
How many times did you say it?
Just once, but I corrected myself immediately. Okay. But here we go. How do you feel? So I'm going to start out with Nate. I got to put my glasses on, JB, you know, because I write too small. How do you feel about these phrases, and which phrase describes Boomer Esiason's body? You ready?
What's up?
Is it a bowl of Jell-O, a bag of cottage cheese, or is it just a round, multicolored beach ball? Which one is it?
I was thinking more like a bag of crumbled up homework. This how his body's midsection looks right there.
You know, I was
you're saying. So how does that make you feel to be talked about? Well, there's Boomer like that.
That's perfect. You know what? I don't worry about it because I have a pretty good sense of humor, and I can be a little self-deprecating myself, but not in this issue. I'm not going to be. I was a former MVP. I played Pro Bowler.
Hey now,
I'm the king of all media here in New York. You're usually the subject of a lot of things that I talk about. And this right here. This is known as the cover chart.
Not to mention he gets dressed every morning. He says, "Oh, Daddy looks good."
Sure does. Every day. Right, to make some fun. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think about me?
Not much. I didn't think much. That's pretty good. You know, hey, let's just real quick. Let's just go to Coach Cowher here. Yeah. You know, you lead in the picks. You 2 times. You took teams to the Super Bowl twice. I don't know what to say about your picks. You know, are you sarcastic? You're irrelevant. You know, just everything. How
clairvoyant.
you no, you're not clairvoyant. But how you conduct yourself in all this? What do you got to say about it?
Well, I try to do the very best I can. You know, I've been asked to pick games. I mean, you never know how it's going to unfold, and it's not a real science to this. You know, so it's.
So you don't. How do you feel though? Do you feel pompous? Do you? You know?
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm leading this group here. And, you know, and that doesn't. I don't feel great about it. I know that you're within. You're still double digit away. You're in last place.
No, let's don't talk about that. I'm in third.
Okay. Oh, you ahead of Nate. Yes. Really, Boomer's the only one I really worry about at this point in the season.
So you didn't answer the question. Aristocratic, whatever you want to say. And last, look, in the NFL, you're always looking for some big guys. And that's what you need. You know, that 3 technique. Right. You know, which I still don't know what it is. That's a guy that can cover a lot of space. And I got a space for a team that somebody can cover. Oh, baby. That is it. Wow. Look at my man. He's mad. That is, well.
You said Kansas City's not big, so you're saying Kansas City should sign him. Sign JB.
JB, get back to that weight. You can put that hand on the ground, man.
We can get him out to Kansas City. They play Buffalo today. They run the football.
That was JB. That was Thanksgiving, JB.
Did Sean McManus approve this? Because you know he wants you to be kind.
JB, just punch.
We'll see you back here for Easter.